Welcome to the Taped podcast, the questionably best podcast in the world. We are your hosts. Unquestionably, okay. We are your hosts, myself, Michael.
Miha.
We are minus Louis today, but that won't really be an issue. So,
Louis
yeah.
fucking died. He's
Literally.
dead.
Literally.
Crashed.
Louis is dead. He went out with Kobe.
Type F in chat. No, don't do that.
Okay. Okay. I'm only joking, F in chat.
That is a joke comedy. Google it.
Literally.
Okay, so Michael, what are we doing today?
Today we are going to be talking about 4 albums, as per usual, 3 new releases and a classic. The new releases that we're going to be doing are Mura Masa with R.Y.C, Pinegrove with Marigold, and Manic by Halsey, and our classic Souvlaki by Slowdive.
Yeah.
So I think we should just quit wasting time and get into it.
Get into which one first, Halsey?
Yeah, we'll get the Halsey one over and done with.
Oh boy. Halsey is an American pop singer-songwriter from New Jersey. Manic's her 3rd studio album. Don't have anything else to say.
This is the first album that I've listened to from Halsey. I hear Halsey on the radio all the time.
Yeah.
So I get a good impression of she's a very popular artist.
Yeah, first time I heard her, I think, was that awful Chainsmokers song, Closer. Or Closer.
If it's associated with Chainsmokers, burn it.
Yeah. Yeah, but this isn't. I've listened to her previous 2 albums, and it's questionable quality.
I mean, it's mainstream like pop music. So what do you expect?
Pop, yeah. I want to start off with track 1, Ashley.
Okay, the first thing I have written here in my notes is, why are there track layers? Like
the production on this awfully bland. Just
very. It's very boring, and like it. And plus, with the track layers added onto it, it's very commercial, which not surprising. Vocally, the verses were extremely boring, and I just felt the chorus was just extremely overly dramatic, as expected with these kind of artists.
Yeah, personally, I didn't mind the chorus all that much. I think that was the only part of the song that I didn't really mind. Verses were just woefully bland, and like stale, and they just did not match the intensity of the chorus whatsoever. It was just there was no match between the verses and the chorus. Just I think it had some potential. I would say that, but overall, a pretty poor song.
Yeah, it's extremely poor. I'd be willing to give this a 3 at most.
I give it a 4.
All right, fair enough. Moving on, we are gonna check out. I can't actually speak. It's too cold in here. Next track, Clementine. Personally, I thought this track was better than the previous one, but not by much. Like, the background vocals are fucking hideous on this track, and like Halsey herself was just meh. Like, there's not really much to take away from her performance on this song either. Like, the production is kind of low key as well, but I didn't think it was terrible. Nothing good or anything. I thought it was just kind of bland. Like, it's nothing special.
Yeah, I think this is another song with just painfully boring production. But I really think that Halsey's performance is the worst part of this song. Like, I'm not a fan of her lyrics at all. They're just way too just melodramatic and whingy, and just vocally not impressive at all whatsoever.
Like, who does this appeal to be honest with you?
Teenage girls, duh.
Yeah, to be fair.
Honestly, I mean, we're out of the demographic, but we can still critique the music.
Literally, Fantano is like 30 years old. He could critique the music, so why can't we?
Fantano's a pop stan though, so.
I mean, he did give the Billie Eilish album an 8, and didn't he give like Ariana Grande an 8 too?
Deservedly so, I'd say both.
To be fair, yeah, those were both good albums. But
Yeah, pop. There's ways to make pop not sucky. For
yeah,
sure.
there are good forms of pop out there. To be fair,
Yeah, this
so
isn't a good example.
if you think we're just hating, what? No, this isn't the place for you.
We're not just hating on this because we're music snobs. This is pop. I do like pop. I love me some Ariana Grande. I love Billie
I
Eilish. I love
I
Carly
do
Rae
like
Jepsen.
some art pop myself. To be honest,
Not
like
even art
fucking
pop, even commercial pop.
like Titanic Rising was one of my favorite records that came out last year.
Yeah, we're not like music snobs.
All right, moving on.
Oh yeah, ratings. That was a 3 for me. I'd say it was
That
worse
was
enough.
that
First
was a
track.
4. That was a 4 for me.
You should be sad. Next track.
Graveyard. Is it
The vocals
Graveyard
on this
or
track. Pardon?
what track
Oh,
is next?
Graveyard. You're right. Graveyard.
See, told you.
This is just more painfully boring production. The percussion and like clapping beat just pisses me off. So annoying. I mean, lyrics are a bit less awful than the last track, but still pretty poor, especially vocally. Pretty poor vocally.
Same for me. Halsey to me on this track was painfully boring, and the production was just painfully boring. That's literally all I have to say from this. I don't even remember half this album already because it's just so forgettable, so bland.
I listened to it like a few times to get all the notes down. Just nothing is really memorable. I can remember like 1 or 2 songs maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of a stretch to try and remember these tracks
Yeah.
at this point.
Um.
I think we should just move on. There's like nothing to say. 4 for me.
You should be sad.
It's a guitar instrumental. The distorted ones are mixed like absolute crap, in my opinion. They just sound so off-putting and awful. And on top of that, I just wrote for the Halsey section, painfully boring.
Painfully boring. Quote that. Well, you're gonna hear it a lot. The vocals on this track, they have like this weird like twang to them. It's almost like she's trying to make a country song. It's somehow still a bit more bearable to me than the last 2 songs, but
she thinks she's Casey Musgraves.
fuck me. I do like the instrumental more than the other tracks, but still not mind blowing in any way. And I think the lyrics really bring this track down a lot. They're really bad. They're really cringy.
It's so bland. It's so painfully bad. Oh god.
Like it's not even like bad. It's not like awful bad. It's just unmemorable bad.
Yeah, that kind of way. Like this will be forgotten by April, I'd say.
By the time she releases her new album,
this will probably be remembered as, oh, I thought this came out last year.
No, yeah, for people who actually are more interested in music, this is not going to be a memorable.
People who actually, once again, we're not
are gonna be obsessed over this. Fair enough.
I mean, fair play to them.
Meant for them more than us.
Literally, if you like Halsey, I don't hold that against you.
Yeah,
I don't hold that against you.
There's worse artists out there. I'll say that.
To be fair, there's worse artists to stand. Trainers. All right, I gave this one a 3.
I gave it a 4.
Next track,
Forever is a long time.
Yeah. She stole from Big Crit. Wow.
Oh, it's the ex-Big Crit collab of the decade.
Oh Jesus.
I think this is an alright song overall. A bit boring, but
same.
Not straight up bad. The piano was pretty nice. I like the tone of the piano. The lyrics were okay for once, and I like the production like near the end. Very interesting.
Like the piano carried for this track, in my opinion. The pianos were great, but for the rest of it, it's just okay. The distorted vocals sounded horrendous, in my opinion, and lyrically it was very flat. Like honestly, that's all I have. There's nothing much to say about this track. It's just, same as all the others. Forgettable.
Yeah, I say it would be the best track so far, but not really saying that much.
Hmm.
Ratings.
I gave this one a 3.
I'd give it a strong 5.
All right, fair enough. Next, Dominic's interlude. This was actually refreshing. Like,
Yeah, it was too short though. I don't really have much to say about it, but yeah,
same. The vocals were weird at
nice.
the beginning, but other than that, I appreciate Dominic Fike's contribution.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't give this a
Honestly,
score at
I
all.
think the best parts of this albums are the the interludes.
I would actually say the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh
uh,
God. Like, I
this
didn't, I didn't even score the interludes at all. I just scored the main like
I didn't s-
songs on the
I
album.
didn't score this one because this one was like considerably shorter.
Yeah, but at least it was refreshing.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I didn't score it, but yeah, it was nice track.
I hate everybody, all caps.
Fuck this track. Honestly, this was I think the worst on the album.
It
Uh,
was. I thought it was a decent transition into the track, but vocally, it's just
yeah,
generic as hell. Jesus Christ!
like the instrumentals boring. Once again, boring. Lyrics are fucking awful. Holy shit, this is so childlike. And the chorus is once again awful. Like vocally, I didn't even think it was that like unforgivable, but Jesus Christ, the lyrics on this are
It's
mindless.
just. It's so generic. Like, it's so generically bad. I can
Yeah,
say.
like so edgy.
Oh my
I
god!
hate everybody. What a
I hate
trash.
everybody. I'm so
I
edgy. I'm
hate no, I
bipolar, guys.
hate the song. 2 out of 10. Fuck it.
It's a 3 for me.
Um, Speaking of threes, 3 a.m. is the next track. Woohoo.
This one is more explosive instrumentally, but Halsey herself just very bland, very generic. Had little to nothing to say.
It
Like, it was painfully.
sounds like a crap Avril Lavigne song.
Jesus
It's
Christ,
just awfully generic. Once again,
awfully.
um, lyrics don't shine whatsoever. Once again, just not a good track at all.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
And I
There's,
gave it another 2 as well.
I gave it a 3.
Um, Without me. um,
Without me.
yeah,
Oh yeah, fuck.
this looks like a good job for me.
Oh god,
Oh no.
I'd rather listen to the original without me. To be honest,
Yeah, hey, this is not that without me. This
I
is the
I
version of
wrote.
Without Me that's generic, annoying pop song with very little meat on the bone.
Is it just me, or
So,
does is it just me that thinks this, or would have Halsey been a great fit on Revival?
I would not be surprised if there was like a deluxe version came out or something with an Eminem X Halsey track.
It's been 3 years. I doubt that's happening.
Oh Jesus!
Essentially, I said for this one, said F word. Oh my god, so groundbreaking.
I don't remember this track at all, to be honest.
It's vocally, instrumentally bland, which I don't blame you for not remembering this track. By the way, it just feels vapid. Like
Yeah,
at this was the point in the album where the monotony just got worse, and it just hit me. Like, I knew it was monotonous before, but the mediocrity just hit way
mm.
harder than I thought it would.
Yeah. Um, I mean, it wasn't a standout track to me, really, in either a positive or a negative sense. Um, what would you rate it?
3.
3 as well, yeah.
Hey, we're on a roll. It's just trees all
Yeah, yeah,
around.
yeah.
All
I
right,
wonder
next
what the final
track.
score will be.
Oh, I wonder.
Um,
Finally, Beautiful Stranger. I only
um,
have 2 notes for this track. Boring, 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 boring. And the last one, boring vocals.
what else is boring? Production.
Very much so. I think that's why I
Um,
pro boring, boring, boring for.
Honestly, I think this was one of the better tracks for me. Definitely not great, but I think it's decent at least. Vocals are not among the worst on the album. And it's lyrically not as bad as some of the other tracks. Instrumental is a simple, like, acoustic one. Hard to fuck up a like simple acoustic instrumental, to be honest though.
Yeah, but to be fair, I have this like opinion that some like acoustic instrumentals by themselves can seem like very cheap and like
Yeah,
unnecessary on some albums. Like I think Post Malone did the same thing in that one. I just clicked off of that one. Like I didn't feel like listening to it.
was it Feeling Whitney or something?
No, it was on
He
Beer
uses a lot
Bongs
of
and
acoustic.
Bentleys.
He
It was
uses
on
a
Beer
lot of.
Bongs and Bentleys.
I don't know
Yeah, I
which
know
track
it.
exactly you mean, but
I don't know what it was either. Probably why I don't fucking like it, but you know. But I thought Beer
um,
Bongs was a good album anyway.
yeah, me too. Honestly, unpopular opinion, but I like Stoney as well.
I have not listened to Stoney yet. I know White Iverson is on it.
I think it's harmless, fun pop rap. I like
Yeah.
it.
We should actually get back to talking about this album. We need to
Yeah,
stop
we
talking about
probably
other
should.
artists.
Like, yeah, the acoustic instrumental, simple. Like, it's not bad by any means, but it's just a bit bland.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay track, forgivable. Um, I'd give it a 5.
I gave it a 3.
Alanis interlude. This was weird
Alanis
to see.
Morissette. Alanis
this
Morissette. Jesus.
this was pretty odd to see, but I think it's probably my favorite track on this whole thing.
It's not really my favorite. Like, it's. I didn't really enjoy this one either. I felt like it was more or less kind of samey as the others. I felt it was kind of boring, but instrumentally it was kind of boom bap ish.
Yeah, it was a cool instrumental, I think, and just the performances from both Alanis Morissette and Halsey were both decent.
Yeah, they were tolerable at least.
Yeah. Definitely not an amazing track, but probably the best one on this. I gave it a 6.
I gave it a 3.
Um, Next track is Killing Boys.
Oh my god, so edgy, guys. Aren't men just the worst?
I have one single thing written down for this one. It's just cringe, bro. This is the worst track on here.
The sample that she put in this song can be interpreted in a very like kind of mean spirited way, to be honest.
It's just a weird, like, it's a weird track. Like, I'm not offended by it. Obviously, I'm not like
Obviously not. Like you could just
alpha.
make fun of it.
I'm not an alpha redneck meninist.
I'm not an incel who just sits in his room on Reddit all day watching Twitch thoughts.
Yeah. Like, come on, but I'm a pretty progressive dude. Doesn't mean this song is crap. Like, not
Lit-
crap. I mean, this is a cringe fest. What is
It
this?
it is very cringe and very boring.
Yeah, 2 out of 10. Fuck this.
3.
I think, is this the last interlude? Sugar's interlude.
Yeah, this is the last one.
Like, honestly, I don't think this is a bad song, but this is just an excuse to have clout with K-pop stans. Like,
It is true.
I bet you any amount of money that she has no fucking clue what Sugar is even saying on this. She's probably didn't even
I
check.
doubt it.
She's probably
This was my favorite track on the album. Like,
yeah.
but I didn't score it at all.
I scored it. Gave it a 6. At least she chose probably the most talented member of BTS.
I'll give him that.
Like, I still kind of feel like he was here for the paycheck, but he did pull off a pretty solid performance. Don't know how this really fits onto the album. It's once again just an excuse to have clout with K-pop stans. Halsey probably doesn't even know what the fuck Sugar's saying on this.
Literally.
But yeah, it's a 6 for me.
I didn't give it a score at all, but if I was going to give it a score, I'd probably give it like a 7 or something like that.
Next track is More.
Bland, boring, another very flat song that didn't captivate me in any way, which I'm not surprised it didn't.
Yeah, at this point in the album, it's hard to give it it's hard to really dissect it. It took a few listens to be able to dissect the latter parts.
Unironically, more was what I thought when this track came on. Like, wait, there's more.
Yeah, like at this point, it was hard not to check out. Just sounds like white noise. This generic, inoffensive, kind of poorly written pop.
I was willing to tap out at like this point, but I'm surprised I didn't tap out any sooner.
I tapped out a few listens. I was like, right, I'm gonna finish later. I probably only managed to get through this in one sitting, like once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boring track. 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10.
Yeah.
Still learning.
This is just all the notes I have on and everything I said about the previous track I can say about this one as well. Except it has a slightly better chorus.
To be fair, yeah. It feels kind of... Is it just me, or does it kind of give off like a Latin pop kind of vibe?
I think that's what she was probably trying to tap into, but without being too obvious about it, yeah.
I mean, you can try do it if you want. Like, people have done it. I mean, bad artists have done it in the past, but at the same time, like, you made it boring. How do you make Latin pop kind of boring?
At its core, it's a very, like, not boring, very entertaining kind of dancey kind of music, and yeah, just boring on this.
Literally, it's generic, it's bland. I gave it a 3.
It's a 3, yeah.
It's a 3.
Last track, 929. I got confused because my rating was beside it.
No, you would have gave it a 9. Wow.
Yeah, this is a masterpiece. In reality, it's just more generic pop to wrap the album up.
Yep.
This time with a bit of extra added on sad white girl vibes and preachiness.
Epic Tumblr girl vibes.
Epic white girl vibes, yeah.
Epic Tumblr girl vibes. Please notice me.
Yeah, that's the album.
Also written in my notes. Thank God it's over.
Thank God. This song was another 3 for me.
This song was another 3 for me. So yeah.
Yeah, final thoughts?
My opinion, this was a very forgettable, bland, extremely boring pop album made by an extremely generic artist that I don't want to check out anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm usually quite a fan of pop, but like I don't see what anyone sees in Halsey really. This album is just an absolute kind of fuckfest of just generic and awful, like written and produced pop songs by one of the least vocally impressive artists, I would say, in mainstream pop today.
Like I was reading. Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was reading some I was reading some publications reviews of this album. Like, I don't know, Pitchfork or some shit like that. Pitchfork. Well, I was reading some other. Well, I was reading more of them, and a lot of them all said more or less the same thing. But the one word that stuck out to me, they said it was groundbreaking. How is this? How the fuck is this groundbreaking? Like, it's so generic. It's painful. It's groundbreaking because she says the F word. Am I right, guys?
Oh God, no! You can't do that. All the 12-year-old stands are gonna start a riot. This in general, it's just pointless, uninteresting. It's not even likable, and I just can't really see any reason to re-listen to this again. I've listened to it enough times in preparation for this. That's all I ever need.
And I don't think I'll be coming back to it anytime soon.
Yeah. Overall score,
I gave it a 3.
I gave it a decent to strong 3.
I think I gave it like a light 3. It's like my second worst rated album of the year.
I don't know if it's among the worst rated this year, but
well, for me it is anyway.
What's up next? Mura Masa?
Yeah, R.Y.C.
Yeah, so Mura Masa is the stage name of Alex Crossan, who is a producer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist from Guernsey, and R.Y.C is his second studio album. So yeah, let's get right into it with the title track, Raw Youth Collage.
Honestly, I enjoy this intro quite a lot. I think the vocal effects can be a bit weird, but other than that, I quite enjoyed the instrumentation. I thought the guitars were really nice, and I love that build up into the.
Hello?
Hello?
Oh, what happened? Just
I
silence.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's grand. Yeah. I think it's a pretty boring opening track, to be honest. But I can't really hold much of a grudge against it because it is the interlude to the album.
I mean,
But yeah,
I thought it was a nice opener. Like I thought it was pretty
yeah, I
decent.
suppose. I mean, I gave it a 5.
I gave it a 7.
First, I'd say proper song in the album is No Hope Generation.
No Hope Generation. I thought the drums were really nice on this track, and overall, the vibe this whole track gave up, it was really upbeat, yet melancholy. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I thought it was a bit weird with the use of its autotune, and that kind of made it feel longer than it actually is. Like, I don't know.
Wait, how long is it? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I could
Yeah,
bring up
well,
the track list if you want.
no point. Sure. No one really cares about how long this track is. I think it's got some cool production, a bit sloppy at times, but overall, I think it's a nice, fun dance song, with just catchy lyrics, kind of pessimistic in a very optimistic kind of delivery. Yeah, I think it's a nice song.
It's decent. I gave it a 6.
I gave it a 7.
Next,
I don't think
next
I can
track.
do this again.
This one features Clairo, and I thought her singing was okay. I thought it was pretty nice. The production of this track, the distorted synths are cool. It feels a bit too commercial for my liking, and I don't know, just felt kind of boring to me.
This was easily my favorite track on the album.
Mm.
I love how the song starts with like very mellow and like pretty vocals from Clairo with slight hints of like the electronic instrumentation, but then when like the song explodes with more electronics when Clairo exclaims like the song title in like this cool distorted voice, I thought that just sounds incredible. The chorus beat is very, very cool. It has like like the guitar samples throughout the song, I mean, sound really pretty and they really fit well with Clairo's vocals and her samples. And I know it just gets me pumped up every time I hear like the drop, um, like on the chorus and the stripped back verses and like the EDM chorus really complement each other really well. And I just think this is a really cool, pretty sounding song.
Yeah, I thought it was just okay, but teach their own.
Yeah.
I gave this track a 5.
I gave it a strong 9.
Ooh, that's
Um,
very good.
yeah, it's one of my favorites of the year so far, I have to say.
Nice one.
I'm eating out an oak tree. It's just a skit, really, but I kind of laughed at it and listened to it a few times because I imagined the whole thing, but with Tom York speaking.
Tom York is the dad.
No, Tom York is the guy who is in.
Oh God.
Tom York wants a banana.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, there's
It's a
not
look
much to
back at an
describe.
encounter with an ex, but it's a alright interlude. I think it kind of fits this whole vibe of I mean, you could say this whole overarching theme of this album.
Yeah, this album is really like a raw youth collage in a
Literally.
sense. Next track is Deal With It.
With Slow Tie.
Mm-hmm.
I was very excited for this track because I'm a bit of a Slow Tie fan.
Yeah,
Not gonna
I'd
lie.
say I am too. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you met the guy, so yeah.
I met the guy. He was very nice,
I
very
thought the
bubbly.
Cincy. Sorry. I thought the synthy instrumental is very nice. I thought Slow Tie's verse was really good, although it felt kind of spoken wordish. And I thought overall it was a great track to jam out to. It was really nice.
Yeah, I thought it was an awesome song, and I think the performance from Slowdive was amazing on this. It kind of reminds me a bit of like Park Life, but if it was like a modern day like punky electronic song.
Park Life.
Yeah, kind of like the same vibe, just like these almost spoken word verses from Slowthai, just critiquing just middle class British culture. And I thought it was a really great song, just really entertaining lyrics from Slowthai. Production
I
matched it well.
No man can say any of that stuff better than Slow Tie. Let's be real here.
His voice suits it well.
I know.
Um,
I know.
I thought this was a great track, and it's another 9 for me.
This one is an 8 from me. Next track, we have Vicarious Living Anthem. I'm gonna be blunt here. I did not like this track at all.
Yeah, I think this wasn't one of the standouts at all.
I thought the vocals were very off-putting and they were extremely inaudible, which I fucking hate at times when it's used horribly.
Mhm.
And the instrumental was just okay. It felt a bit messy, in my opinion. Like, I don't know, just
Yeah,
didn't
like
appeal to me at all.
the chorus I will say was pretty catchy, but like the vocals just do not sound good at all on this, and the instrumental gets stale really fast. Just not really a standout. I gave it a 5.
I gave it a 4.
In my mind, I think this was a nice, quiet track, very quality production. I really like the vocal performance. Very like I don't know how I'd say like I don't know the word. Help. What's the word? It's nice.
It's cool.
It's like almost seductive in a way, like R&B, 70s R&B inspired.
Kinda.
I think it's another catchy as fuck song.
Yeah, I thought production wise it was really good. The synths and the melodies seem alright. The 808s hit hard, but vocally it was nothing special, and I felt it was very boring. Like as well in terms of performance, I didn't really enjoy it that much. Like I have nothing much to say about this track, to be honest. I just didn't really
Let's
like
give
it
our
that
ratings.
much. 4.
7.
Oh.
Today.
It has an acoustic opening into these like distorted synths, which felt very messy to me, and to be honest, it just wasn't very attention grabbing, in my opinion. I don't know, I just didn't really vibe with this track at all.
I thought it was instrumentally one of the least impressive tracks, but I think the performance from Tirza was awful. Awful. What am I saying? Was awesome.
Literally.
And it kind of
Literally, it
carried
was
the.
awful. Nah, Tirza
Trying to
was
be
just.
positive here.
Tirza for me was just not attention grabbing. That's all I could say.
I thought the performance from her was great, and it kind of carried the production a bit. And I think at the end it was a pretty track, but not the most attention grabbing, I would say. I gave it a 6.
I gave it a 4.
Live Like We're Dancing.
I did not like how commercial this track was at all. I just wrote in my notes, didn't like it at all. I don't remember this track at all.
Well, I quite like the song. I thought the production was pretty awesome, and it almost like sounded like Random Access Memories Daft Punk era like production had that same like 70s groovy vibe.
I am looking at that CD right now.
I thought it was a very fun performance from Georgia, and I honestly like this track more than pretty much anything off her new album, which I thought could have been a lot better. Just had potential, and I think it's more developed here than on the album itself. I just think it's a nice, fun dance pop track with a kind of 70s disco twang to it.
Yeah, I could give it that, but I don't know. I just didn't like it at all.
That's fair. I give it an 8.
I gave it a 3.
Teenage Headache Dreams.
This was a fucking headache, alright.
This was my second favorite song on the album.
Wow. I thought that vocally and instrumentally it was uninteresting, not attention grabbing, and boring again. And that line at staring each other like live TV was pretty corny, in my opinion. I did not like that at all.
um,
That just added to how bored I was of this track. Like I think
um,
this was the track
yeah.
I actually. No offense to Mura Masa, if you're watching, please don't try fucking kill me. This is just an opinion.
He's not gonna kill you. Don't worry. I don't
Oh,
think he'd
thank
hear
God.
this.
I doubt he cares either. So
Honestly, seems like a chill dude.
he does.
I think this was a really pretty, really catchy song. It slowly kind of builds up with these beautiful vocals from Ellie Roswell, and like the kick drum just keeps blasting through the song. Even it like keeps you on edge even through the quieter parts. And then when the song finally explodes at the end with after the little like spoken word interlude, I think it sounds incredible. Um, I give it a decent 9.
I gave it a 3.
Um,
This is what this
that's
is about, lads. This is
yeah.
differing opinions.
So you can choose who to agree with, or you can be somewhere in between. I think the general
Unless
stance
you're
on this
by a
album.
Stan, then you know who to agree.
I think the general opinion on this album is somewhere in between ours. Um, last track is just a bit of an outro track, but I think it's a nice little somber ambient closer to the album,
Ye-
especially after
Yeah,
the explosiveness of the end of the last track.
yeah, I thought it was a nice enough outro.
So yeah, overall thoughts.
Personally, I didn't really enjoy that as much as I thought I would. I was kind of disappointed. Like it had its highlights, like the song with Slow Tie and the opener. But honestly, I felt like it was a bit messy in some areas. I thought vocally and lyrically, a lot of the performances were kind of uninteresting from a lot of the features. But I did come away with a highlight. I'm okay with this album. It's nothing that I would want to come back to that much. Maybe, I don't know. Like I just think it's okay in at most. Like I don't really find it that enjoyable.
Well, for me, Royal Youth Collage is an album full of just brilliant, fun, and retrospective, well-produced tracks. I think there's some absolute gems in there. My only really gripe with this album that I never really got into because we were only talking about individual tracks really is that the concept and flow of this album was very all over the place. Like there's little that connects a lot of these tracks together musically, I think.
All right. So
Mm.
overall scores,
Strong 7.
I gave it to a light to decent 4.
What's our next album?
Marigold.
Marigold by Pinegrove. Yeah, so Pinegrove is an American indie rock band, also from New Jersey, second artist from New Jersey today.
Woo!
Marigold is their fourth studio album.
This is my
First,
first experience with the band themselves, and yeah, let's
yeah,
just
this
get right
isn't
into it.
my first experience. I will add that it's probably not the greatest first exposure to the band. I'll have to show you.
Understandable.
I'll have to show you my favorite Marigold album after this. Cardinal for
Shh.
all you listening out there. Um, First track, Dotted Line. I
I
think,
thought it was a
yeah,
decent
go.
enough intro track. Okay, I thought it was a decent enough intro track. I thought the vocals were pretty nice. They fit well with the instrumental. The chorus was really good in my opinion. I liked it. It's a nice little tone setter for the rest of the album.
Yeah, I think this is just Pinegrove doing what Pinegrove has always done. It's just making a sweet and pretty little indie rock song fused with kind of Americana country aspects and emo aspects. As most Pinegrove songs usually are, the lyrics on this are pretty great. And while this wouldn't be my favorite track in their discography by any means, it's still a pleasant song, I'd say.
Hmm.
I give it a 7.
I also gave it a 7.
Spiral is the next track, and I didn't really give this a rating. This was just kind of pointless to me.
Yeah, I didn't give it a rating either.
Yeah. Do you want to go on to the next track?
Yeah, The Alarmist.
I thought this was a top tier Pinegrove song, in my opinion. I think the lyrics were superb. I love the lovely little bittersweet vocals. guitar solos on this were really cool after the chorus, and just the outro itself was also really powerful. Throughout the track, I love the keyboard and just the lyrics, the vocal performance, everything I think on this track was great, and it came together really well. Overall, a great track, I'd say.
Personally, I thought it was just okay. I thought the vocals and the instrumental were okay. The guitars carried this track. I thought they were really nice, but to me, I thought the track was a little bit boring and a bit too long,
Mm.
but it's not bad by any means. It's just somewhere in the middle for me.
I give it an 8.
I gave it a 6.
No Drugs is the next track, and I like the guitar on it. It's pretty cool. It's kind of a more stripped back track up until the ending, which does explode a bit. I think it's catchy, but the lyrics seem a bit cornier than they tend to be on other Pinegrove songs, and I think it's decent overall, but certainly not as standout. Neither on this album, and certainly not in the grand scheme of Pinegrove.
The vocals, they were alright on this track. Thought they were kind of bland, but
Mm.
the guitars were really decent, and the drums actually kind of livened up the track too. And I agree, it's very stripped back, but ultimately, you could just meet me in the middle with this track. I just thought it
Mm.
was nothing special.
I give it a 6.
I gave it a 5.
Moment. I think this is a more upbeat song. I do feel like the songwriting isn't as good as you'd come to expect with Pinegrove on this. But all in all, I think that the energy of this track is really great, and instrumental is great, guitar's great, and it kind of carries the mediocre vocals, I think.
Yeah, I thought the instrumental was very samey to some of the previous tracks on here, and I thought it was more bland than anything else. And lyrically, again, like you said, it wasn't really interesting or mind blowing or anything like that. And felt like it was vocally nothing special either. Like nothing really stood out to me about this song at all.
Final score?
5.
7. Hairpin. I think instrumentally, this song is a bit more stripped back, but vocally and lyrically, I think it's a step up in my opinion from the previous tracks. I think the
I
song is.
completely agree. I think it
Woo!
was pretty decent. The instrumental was very decent. I like how it was more slow paced, but at the same time, it captivated me. It kept me interested.
I thought you were gonna hit me with the disagree there.
No,
You had
not
that
at
tone of
all.
voice. Yeah, I think this is a pretty song, and I think the instrumentation, the kind of strip back instrumentation, complements the vocals and lyrics on this. I think this is a very good song.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I think it's one of my favorites on the album.
I gave it a strong 7.
I gave it a very strong 7.
Woo. Um, Phase. I think this is more energetic than what you may come to expect from this band, but I think it's a nice change of pace, and the song is overall well arranged and well written, I think.
Same, but at the same time, for me, it didn't really stand out that much. I thought the guitars were pretty nice, the vocals were very decent, but overall, didn't really captivate me as much as
Mm.
Hairpin did.
Well, I give this another 7.
I gave it a 6.
Endless.
This
This
one,
is another low tempo track, but this one I think doesn't stand out much to me. Um, as much as the previous low tempo track, which was Hairpin, was it? Yeah.
yeah.
It is forgettable, but the ending with just the vocals and piano I think was really nice, and
Yeah,
it's
I
easily
love
my
that.
favorite part of the song.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the song as well, and I completely agree with what you said there. It's not as good as the other slower paced track,
Mm.
Hairpin. And is it just me, or does this one seem kind of country ish?
A lot of these, like their style is very unique, I think, and
Oh,
it's executed a lot better on some of their previous albums. Like I definitely need to
I
force you to listen to
I'm
Cardinal
open to
Possession.
listening to it.
Incredible album, I think.
Like,
Um,
this is the only time I only like figured out the kind of country-ish aspects. This was it.
yeah, they make like at the core it's indie rock, but they do have these elements of Americana, country, and emo in their music, and I think it's a really unique kind of sound.
Sure, I'm down
Um,
to check it out.
Well, Endless was a 5 for me.
Endless was a 6 for me.
Alcove, I think this is a really great and well written track. I think it has a really beautiful instrumental, and it's overall one of the standouts for me on this album.
This one was not a standout for me. I thought
Oh.
I thought vocally it was okay. The acoustics were just all right for the most part, and it didn't really stand out to me in any way. I just thought it was another boring song. To be honest, like that's all I had written.
Final score?
5.
8 for me.
All right.
Neighbor, I think.
Howdy, neighbor.
Once again, another stripped back track. I think they usually do these kind of tracks very well, like where they highlight the lyrics. But the thing with this track and a lot of other tracks on this album is the beat, like the lyrics are offbeat on this. I think they're not as strong as they usually are on Pinegrove albums. Like the song just seems to be about him hitting an opossum. It's a bit of a weird concept. I don't know if it's executed all that well
That's
lyrically.
that's such a country thing to write about. And that's what I wrote in my notes. It was more country-ish again, and vocally and instrumentally, it was okay. Like nothing offensive or bad or good.
Yeah,
I just thought it was okay. It was meet me in the middle.
yeah, I thought this was okay. I think just overall a bit forgettable
Uh huh.
and lyrically not the strongest.
No.
6 out of 10 for me.
5 for me.
And last track, Marigold.
Title
Th-
track.
yeah, this is a long 6 minute track which consists like of these slow and like ominous long piano chords and twinkling guitars. I think it's a nice close for the album, but it does drag on a bit.
I thought it was a nice closer. I really like the ambient guitars on this one, but ultimately it did drag on a bit, and yeah, it was just an alright track in my opinion.
Yeah, I gave it a 6.
I gave it a 6.
Final thoughts?
Okay, final thoughts for Marigold. I thought this one was just an okay album. I didn't think it was bad or terrible in any way. I just thought it was okay. Like it had its fair share of highlights. It had its fair share of good instrumentation and great moments lyrically as well. But then again, a lot of the tracks didn't really stand out to me as much. I thought it was a slight bit inconsistent, and it felt like it could have had more to offer vocally and maybe instrumentally on a lot of the tracks. But other than that, it's all right. I'd be willing to check out more of their music.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna show you Cardinal after this. I think overall Marigold is a good album, but I think it somehow somewhat fails to establish an identity for itself among other Pinegrove albums, and it does have a few duds on there, I'd say, on the songwriting front, which is something the band usually excels at. So I think this album is a bit offbeat for the band. They're not at their strongest by any means here. But with that being said, it's still overall a pretty and if you're a fan of indie rock, if you're a fan of Pinegrove, or if you wanna get into the band, I wouldn't recommend this one as the first album, but um, I would still recommend checking this out overall. There might be something here for you.
There's always something for everybody.
Yeah. Final score, I give it a strong 6.
I gave it a decent 5.
No, it's time for the big classic album.
Woo!
Souvlaki is the debut studio album from legendary British shoegaze outfit Slowdive. It was released in 1993, I think. I didn't write down much for
Yeah, I
this.
think it was 1993.
Yeah, I'm going from my own head. I'm pretty sure it's 1983. And this would go on to become a staple in the genre of shoegaze, and these days it's widely considered to be one of the big three shoegaze albums, along with Loveless by My Bloody Valentine and Nowhere by Ride. It's also often regarded as one of the best albums of all time. So yeah, first track.
Again, this is my first exposure to Slowdive, and I'm very pleased.
I'm a big Slowdive fan, so I can't say the same for myself, but I'm happy to be talking about this.
Yeah.
First track is Allison. I think this is an absolutely beautiful song, and it's one of my favorite songs of all time. Let alone on this album. At its core, it's a very pretty and well written pop rock song, but the instrumental on this track is just breathtaking. Like the wailing, ethereal guitars that
It's
break out
so
during the chorus just give me goosebumps.
it's so atmospheric and really
Yeah,
dreamy, and I thought vocally it fit very well. Like I
yeah.
thought it was great, and the reverb was great on this as well.
hmm
It kind of fit well with the whole atmosphere of the track, and by far, it was one of my favorite openers. I'll have to say
Yeah,
for
we're
any
already on
album,
track one. I can say this is my favorite song on the album easily.
and this had me excited for the rest of the album.
Yeah, but I say easily not because this is the only good track, but because this track is just exceptionally incredible.
All
Um,
right,
Next track is Machine Gun,
wait, did we
and I
give
think
scores?
10. It's a 10.
It's a 10. It's a 10.
Machine Gun, like whereas the previous track only really exploded with the ethereal kind of guitars during the chorus, this song starts off with them, and over these guitars are Rachel Goswell's like beautiful angelic vocals, and I think it's a really pretty, almost dark track, I'd say.
Yeah, it was really good vocally throughout. But
Mm.
the only issue I had with this track was just I didn't really enjoy some of the mixing choices. But it only took away like a small bit. I still think this is a great song. I thought the instrumentals were very nice as well. They were so they were really nice, and I love the whole atmosphere of the song as well.
Yeah, I gave it another 10.
I gave it a 9.
40 Days. At first, this is a much more kind of poppy track with some pretty catchy lyrics from Neil Halstead, but the song kind of once again explodes during the chorus with this very grandiose guitar wall of sound, and I think it sounds incredible. It's again very atmospheric, very ethereal. Just brilliant track overall.
It was powerful right off the bat
Mm,
as well, and that solo was just really psyche, so
yeah.
good. Only and another issue I had with this track was just vocally, it's just a bit too monotone at some points, but it's not a bad track at all. It's a great track in my opinion.
Uh, I give that another 10.
I give it a 9.
Sing. I think this is a less explosive song, and it's mostly carried by this really nice drum beat, this strong bass, and these two are backed by like these eerily beautiful speckles of guitar noise and reverbed vocals from Rachel Goswell. I think it's a nice blend of all the different aspects, and overall, I think it's an incredible song.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really good. I really enjoyed the dreaminess of this whole song. That's just going to be me repeating the same shit. The dreaminess, the dreaminess, the dreaminess. But that's the whole thing. But I didn't enjoy this one as much as the previous tracks, and mostly because I just thought it was a slight bit too slow, in my opinion.
Mm.
But doesn't really take away much. I still think it's a good track.
So, final score?
8.
I gave it a 10.
Ooh.
Here She Comes is the next track, and this is a more quiet and somber song consisting of Neil Halstead's like mellow vocals over a very quiet drum beat with more speckles of guitar, not too dissimilar from the last track. I think overall it has a very comforting quality to it, and I think it's a great short but sweet song.
Yeah, vocally, it's beautiful. Instrumentally, it's very beautiful. It's a really nice, sweet song, but I thought it was a bit too short.
Mm, yeah, I can get behind the too short statement. Overall, it's a 9 for me.
It's an 8 for me.
Next up is Souvlaki Space Station.
I
Um,
absolutely love the whole atmosphere of this track. The guitars were by far one of my favorite aspects of this whole track. It actually made for one of my favorite tracks in the album. It was just beautiful. It was so great.
yeah, I think it's a really cool song with these like choppy, reverby guitars that sound really like eerie and ominous with like very faint vocals mixed into the background of the song. I think this has so many separate layers. Like the song has so many separate layers that all kind of mix in together to give this like song an almost alien kind of strange quality. I think that makes the title quite fitting as well. And I think it's a beautiful, eerie track. It's a 10. 10 for me.
It is a 10. I agree.
When the sun
When
hits,
the sun hits.
iconic track, and it starts with this very minimum but quiet, like instrumentals, vocals, but then it absolutely explodes once again. It's an incredible song with, once again, beautiful guitars, very powerful, and they're driven by these equally powerful drums. I love the part where the guitars begin to kind of calm down, but the drums kick them back into action for one last explosion before the song fades. That just gives me goosebumps every time.
Like, the guitars were really nice. They were so beautiful. Vocals again were great. They just fit so well with this whole atmosphere, the instrumentation, and overall, this led to another 10.
Yeah, another 10 for me as well. Altogether is the next track. I think this is. Oh, you go.
Okay. I think instrumentally, this is a very nice track. I thought vocally it wasn't really stand out than the previous track, so that kind of brought it down for me a bit.
Well, I thought this was another really pretty track with incredible vocals from Neil Halstead. I think it's complemented well by these kind of floating guitars, and overall, I think the sound that this song achieves is pretty great. I don't think it would be the standout track for me on the album, but I think it's amazing nonetheless. And I gave it a 9.
I gave it an 8.
Melon Yellow. Don't let everything going on in the world right now distract you from the fact that Slowdive predicted Anthony Fantano back in 1983.
I was just about to say that. They predicted Anthony Fantano. If it weren't for Fantano, I wouldn't know about Death Grips.
Jokes aside, I think this is an awesome track with this ghostly reverb on the guitars, and the vocals make the song seem almost unsettling, but in a very pretty way. It's another quiet track, but I don't mind at all because like every single one of the quiet tracks on this, I think, have a unique style to them, in my opinion. And I love how a lot of the tracks on this album kind of fade out slowly. It kind of adds to the haunting, kind of ethereal feeling of the album. It's no exception on this track.
Yeah, the atmosphere was absolutely fantastic again. Just as a whole, this album's atmosphere is amazing. The guitars were really good. They carried it a lot for me, and I really enjoyed the vocals here too. I thought it was another really solid track, really standout track.
Yeah, I gave it a 10.
I also gave it a 10.
And final track is Dagger, and I think this is a beautiful kind of reverby acoustic track. And I think it's, in my opinion, a beautiful way to send off the album, in my opinion. I said it is twice, didn't I?
Yes, it is a fantastic finisher. It's amazing. Love the vocals. Love the instrumental. Again, it's a 10.
It's a 10 for me as well. Final opinion?
Final opinion. This album is a trip through this nice, beautiful, dreamy atmosphere. And I know I've said dreamy atmosphere so much. I do not care. That is the whole thing with this album. It's one of those albums that you can just have a good time with and listening to, because there's so many great moments and great highlights throughout here, and it has so much to offer vocally, instrumentally, and you could say lyrically as well. It's just really, it's a great shoegaze album. So yeah,
if there's anything to take away from this podcast, is it's boring production and dreamy.
it's boring and dreamy.
Yeah. I think this album is an absolute staple in the shoegaze genre. If you're a fan of shoegaze, definitely have to listen to this one. I'm assuming if you're a fan of shoegaze, you've already listened to this one though. I think Souvlaki is just a masterclass in creating beautiful soundscape over already amazing pop songs, and this is an album whose ethereal kind of beauty will never fail to transport you to a different world. It just feels like you're floating and through this other dimension or something when you're listening to a lot of these instrumentals. The vocals match this kind of eerie, ethereal aesthetic very well. and this album is definitely one of my favorites of all time.
All right, final
Overall
scores:
rating,
a decent 9.
decent 10.
Woo!
Woo!
Okay, but
Mm.
actually, I forgot to ask this before we started the Slouvlaki review. What was your favorite release of this week?
Of this week,
Mm-hmm.
Mura Masa.
Marigold for me.
All right.
So, yeah,
I'm
time.
gonna
Will I
announce the
announce it
album.
this week? Will I announce
Yeah.
it this week?
Well,
All right.
what day? It's Tuesday right now, right?
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this, it's gonna be Wednesday. I'll upload this on Wednesday.
All right. So
Um,
for the next episode, the albums that we are going to be covering are Mystic Familiar by Dan Deacon,
Woo!
Father of All Motherfuckers by Green Day,
Woo!
Have We Met by Destroyer,
Woo!
and for the classic, this is one I am personally very excited for, Illmatic by Nas.
Woo! Hell yeah!
Oh yeah, can't wait. Thank you.
So
I'll do the outro. Thanks
yeah.
so much for thanks so much for checking out this episode of the Taped Podcast. What did you think of our opinions? Necessary links are in the description to our channels and our album of the year pages. And yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.